very good evening. You're watching the weekend edition of the Urban Debate. I am Afrida Rahman Ali. Top 5 stories of the day that we will be focusing on over the next half an hour. The top story, of course, being Battleground Bengal. Yes, there have been another series of exits from the TMC, all of them joining the BJP today. We will have an expert talk us through the importance of these developments. Top story 2, Battleground Tamil Nadu, where we will get you the inputs on how this entire tussle between Sasikala and AIADMK in Jaya legacy war is playing out. Sasikala's car has now displayed the AIADMK flag, something that is not going down well with the party leaders. Top story 3, Prime Minister condemns the Red Fort violence. The Prime Minister says on the farmers' protest that the government is still open for dialogue. This is important and significant, and of course it gets a warm response and a welcoming response from leaders like Rakesh Tikayat, who says that won't let Pagri or the PM down. So those statements are significant, coming at a time that it has. Top story number 4, the blast near the Israeli embassy in Delhi over 36 hours on. The culprits are still untraced. What's happening on that front? What are the probe details and inputs so far? We'll explain the important inputs on that story. Top story 5, Unlock India. Full capacity in cinema halls allowed from tomorrow. Again, a big development there with Mumbai locals also going to open from the 1st of February. A very significant announcement for all Mumbaikars, the Mumbai locals being the lifeline of the city here. So I'm going to now first take our viewers through what's happening in Bengal. Very interesting and significant developments with another spate of exits from TMC just ahead of the state elections. Let's tell you who has exited the party. Former Bengal Minister Rajib Banerjee, along with other rebel TMC leaders Vaishali Dalmia, Prabir Ghoshal, Rathin Chakrabarti and Rudnil Ghosh. All of them have joined the BJP. This comes hours after the TMC detractors met the Union Home Minister Amit Shah in the national capital yesterday. Chartered flights were sent to fetch these leaders who are going to join the BJP in the national capital. So that's the development that has, of course, made it to the headlines. Undoubtedly, it looks like a tsunami of exits. Are they all significant, or much of it is hype and hoopla? That is what we're going to look at. Whether this is, of course, bad optics for TMC, but is it without consequence, as the TMC would like us to believe? Has Suvendu Adhikari's exit really opened the floodgates for a series of other exits? And are the chips really down for the TMC even before the battle royale kicks in? So I'm going to introduce Monobina Gupta, author and journalist, joining us this evening from Kolkata. Very good evening, Ms. Gupta. Thanks so much for your time. Before I go across to Monobina, let's listen in to what one of the detractors, Rajib Banerjee, had to say, and then I have questions for Monobina Gupta.
जो संदेश है ऑलरेडी मैंने तो मंच से दे चुका। मैं सिर्फ एक ही बात कहेंगे कि राजनीतिक मैदान में बहुत लड़ाई हो चुका है, बहुत राजनीति का बात हो चुका है। अभी वो सब छोड़ के बंगाल के जनता को सुखी रखने के लिए, खुशी रखने के लिए, बेकार नौजुवानों को हाथ में काम देने के लिए, हर घर में काम पहुंचाने के लिए, श्रमिक कृषक के तरक्की के लिए, हर तरह के इंसान को, माँ बहनों से शुरू करके हर तरह के इंसान को एक सुख देने के लिए, खुशी देने के लिए, एक अच्छा बंगाल बनाने के लिए तमन्ना लेके मैं उतरे हूँ। और ये उतार के ये काम जब तक नहीं होता तब तक ये संघर्ष, सब लड़ाई हम लोगों का चलेगा। ये गढ़ तो हम लोग एक जैसा कर्मी रक्षा किए थे, ये गढ़ तो हम लोग ही बनाए थे। ऐसा तो नहीं है कि कोई ऊपर से आया और एक दिन आके सब गढ़ बना चुके हैं। अब देखने दीजिए ना, अभी तो फाइनल मैच बहुत देरी है। माठ में सब आज के खाली उतरे हैं और बाकी दिन भी हम लोग माठ में उतरेंगे, जाएंगे, बात करेंगे। और मैं तो एकदम एक कर्मी की तरह, मैं तो हर टाइम आम जनता के घर में घुसता हूं। तो मैं इस बार भी हर घर में घुसेंगे। 294 कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी सिर्फ नहीं, हर जगह जाएंगे। आदमी को, हम लोगों को जो तमन्ना है, जो सपना है, वो सपना दिखाएंगे। और मुझे उम्मीद है कि आम जनता हम लोगों को ये सपना को साकार करेंगे।
Monobina Gupta, welcome once again. I want to begin by asking you, the first big question, of course, is that here is a former TMC minister who has exited. Looking at the number of people who have exited, it obviously, the optics are bad at the moment, like I said, but are they all of severe consequence? Is this really a jolt to Mamata and the TMC? Because prior to this, Monobina, you would know that 7 sitting legislators of TMC, including prominent leader Suvendu Adhikari, had exited the party. So I want to just ask you that, sometimes it's brushed aside as political opportunism, personal ambition, taking the better of somebody. And TMC, of course, has been saying that none of these exits are of any consequence to them.
Just a small clarification to begin with. I'm currently in Delhi and not in Kolkata. So to your question...
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Carry on.
To your question about the significance of these exits, which we've seen over the recent months, I think they do send a signal which is confusing for the voter and also not so positive for TMC. That being said, at the same time, we really have to look beneath the surface and see what kind of implications do these exits have for the future of the Trinamool Congress in the coming elections. By that, I mean that how much of effect will the departure of these leaders and rank and file members with them, how many rank and file members will the leaders be able to carry with them? That is a crucial question. I think it would be a bit brash to dismiss the exits as just of no significance. Of course, coming as they do on the eve of the elections, they do send out a negative signal, but whether they actually have any kind of impact on the voting pattern of the people in Bengal, whether they are successful, I mean, the defectors, whether they are successful in turning the voters away, or at least a large section of voters away from Trinamool Congress, remains to be seen.
Okay. All right, fair point. Let's in fact also now look at what Amit Shah said today while addressing a virtual rally. Amit Shah, addressing a BJP rally virtually at Howrah, said that Mamata Banerjee is busy making her nephew the Chief Minister of Bengal and that her party has given up on the welfare of people, accusing Mamata Banerjee of blocking centre's welfare schemes in the state. Amit Shah said that the first thing that the BJP would do when it comes to power is implement Ayushman Bharat. So the hopes are really high. I'm going to go back to Monobina in just a bit. We'll listen into what Amit Shah had to say. But yes, it's important to highlight here that from 3 seats in 2016, now the hopes are really high for the BJP and they're aiming for crossing 150 plus. But let's quickly listen in to the Union Home Minister first.
देश भर में जहां-जहां एनडीए की सरकार चली है, वो सभी सरकारें जन कल्याण के कामों से देश के विकास के रास्ते पर जुड़ी है। हर गांव में, हर घर में सुविधाएं पहुंचाने में जुटी है और यहां पर भतीजे को मुख्यमंत्री बनाने के अलावे और कोई एजेंडा ही नहीं है। मित्रों, नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार का काम करने की तरीका है मोदी सरकार जन कल्याण के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है और ममता दीदी की सरकार भतीजा कल्याण में व्यस्त है। इसके लिए बंगाल की जनता का कल्याण ये एजेंडा नहीं है।
So Monobina, coming back to you on 2 points I would like you to comment on. First, on the level of discourse on, what has dominated the political discourse, whether it is the legacy war to begin with and then the slogan war. And today, the nephew has become a new flashpoint, as you just heard the Union Home Minister. Also, BJP's rise in Bengal. It's something that is being watched very closely, by observers like yourself. What do you make of it? The fact that today Congress and left are looking non-entities and it looks like a completely pitched battle between the BJP and the TMC.
Right. So there are 2 parts to, I think, to the answer. The first part has to do with what Amit Shah just now said. And he kind of made it seem like Mamata Banerjee's agenda for the last 10 years has solely revolved around Abhishek Banerjee, and the nephew. The thing is,
Yes.
this is an issue which has been built up rapidly as in the run up to the elections. This is not an issue which was dominating the conversations in Bengal, let's say from 2016 to now. I mean, to even in 2019, the conversation was not really about the nephew. This is something which the defectors have kind of ratcheted up. And obviously, the cue is coming from the BJP central leadership that this is something they hope that people of Bengal will kind of really make this an issue to vote on, which I think is a bit far-fetched. On the other part of your question, which has to do with the BJP's rise. Now,
is this connected, Monobina? Sorry to interrupt you. Is this connected to the dissenters? Because, there are statements and reports coming in that a lot of these dissenters are upset with the rise and power of Abhishek Banerjee. And there are other reports that also say this has a lot to do with Prashant Kishore taking over the campaign. Are these connected in any way to the recent exits?
Yes, I think they are connected in the sense they are connected maybe directly, but also indirectly. I think Abhishek Banerjee, people in Bengal would mention Abhishek Banerjee as someone who didn't really kind of come up through the ranks, and because of kin of Mamata Banerjee, and he's got this place. So there was that kind of side talk. And Prashant Kishore's kind of entry into the political habitat and, as a kind of a spin doctor of the TMC campaign, I think also could have riled, old-time TMC people, veterans. It's possible. But I think it is also the defectors who quit the TMC. I think it's also become a handy issue to kind of go to town with, This is...
so that is a smart strategy then. What you're saying is that this is something that the BJP is capitalizing on as a well thought out strategy, which is why Abhishek Banerjee's name is being tossed around by someone like Amit Shah in the election campaign, knowing that there is something to gain from using this issue. I've run out of time on this topic. Thank you so much, Monobina Gupta, for joining us this evening. Appreciate your views on the subject.